I can't believe this. Let's talk about it. Before that, this video is brought to you by AliExpress. Why pay more? AliExpress has great deals on tech-related products this holiday season during their 2022 Black Friday sales event, with discounts up to 90% on products like the Hagibis USB-C docking station. If you're someone who works with cameras, video, or just transfers lots of files, this docking station is the perfect option with an SD and microSD card reader, M.2 slot USB 2 and 3.1 Type A ports, an aux port, two 4K 60 FPS compatible HDMI ports, a 100 watt Type-C power delivery port, two USB-C ports for connecting PCs, buttons for changing the colors, brightness, and modes of the LEDs, and two more USB 3 ports in the front. I personally used this docking station recently to transfer many files from my previous PC's Windows M.2 drive, and thanks to the docking station, it was made incredibly fast and easy since I was able to just plug it in and transfer my files at about 1 GB per second over the Type-C connection. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below and apply these discount codes to save big on your next purchase. Well guys, today I got some absolutely fantastic news as it looks like the PC market continues to get better and better when it comes to pricing. Now, in my last video, I did talk about how GPU pricing has been getting significantly better and the overall PC market is seeing a big decline when it comes to growth, which is actually going to sound kind of bad at first, but if you think about it more and more, you'll start to see why this is actually going to be a good thing for PC gamers, as like I mentioned in my previous video, this means you're going to have a lot less competition when it comes to buying those new GPUs and CPUs. And speaking of, I do want to talk about a news story that came out from videocards.com today, where it looks like other parts of the PC market are going to continue to get better and better as well, which is just absolutely fantastic news. Now, this information, again, I did originally get from videocards.com, but it looks like when it comes to AMD CPUs, the prices are absolutely plummeting this holiday season, which of course is fantastic to hear. So if you're someone who's been wanting to jump onto AM5, this could be a good time for you, because not only are some of these CPUs finally at a price point that I would consider not only reasonable but very, very good, but on top of that, other parts of the platform have dropped in price as well. But there's also a lot of other components that have been dropping in price. So if you've been looking to build a PC, now might be a great time. But first, let's go ahead and start off by taking a look at the 7950X, because this thing has dropped in price very substantially. In fact, it's dropped all the way from $800 to, if we take a look at this Amazon listing, down to $550, which guys, that is a drop of $250, a massive price decrease. And by the way, of course, there are Black Friday deals going on today, and I am going to be taking a look at some other components. And if you do want to buy any of these products, I will have Amazon affiliate links in the description below, so that would be very, very helpful if you click those links before making any purchases. But in any case, yeah, a drop of $250, that is absolutely massive. And honestly, at $550, I do think that the 7950X is going to be a good price for the CPU. And I did take a look at some other motherboards. Now, there aren't necessarily any specific Black Friday deals, but overall, I am seeing across various different websites such as Newegg.com and Amazon and even Best Buy that these types of motherboards are definitely going to be a lot cheaper now than they have been in the past. So again, if you've been looking to build an AM5 type of PC, now could be a great time, especially for the more high-end buyers who are looking to purchase something like the 7950X, if you have a good reason to do so, because again, it's getting a massive price discount. Now, on the Intel side, unfortunately, I did not see any major deals going on right now, and I do want to mention that these AMD deals allegedly are going to be probably only for the holiday season. I imagine at some point they'll come back in the future, but they might go away for a little while. So again, now might be the time to pull the trigger. Now, another CPU that I think is actually a really good price from AMD is the 7900X. It's actually dropped all the way down to $474, which is about a $75 decrease from its original MSRP. And then finally, taking a look at the 7700X, it's coming in at a much more reasonable $349, about a $100 decrease from its original MSRP. And again, at this price point, I think it's actually not too bad, although I will say that if you did want to purchase something like a 13600K, I still think even without a discount, that is going to be a very good option as well. I think it's going to come down to what type of memory you're using and what type of motherboard prices that you can find in your particular region. But enough about CPUs. Let's take a look at some other parts of the PC market to see where you can have some very, very good deals if you're building a new PC. So now taking a look at some displays, here we have the LG C2, and this thing is a screaming good deal at $897. Now, it is very expensive still for a monitor, but what you're getting here is absolutely fantastic, and this is the display I run myself personally, as I think right now it is the best 4K display on the market by a country mile. Now, if you are wanting something a little bit cheaper, there is an OLED Aorus FO48U. This one's a 48-inch, 120Hz OLED, so it's going to be a little bit bigger, and honestly, I do think 42 inches is much, much better, but it is cheaper at $780, which is allegedly a 48% discount, so that's a pretty significant discount there. Now, I do want to mention here, guys, that a lot of these discounts are going to be the original MSRP, and recently these things have not been selling at the original MSRP, so a lot of these things aren't necessarily quite as good of a deal as they're making it seem to be, but overall, the stuff that I am showing you, I do think is a very good deal regardless. But now moving on to something a little bit less large, and that's going to be the Samsung 32-inch Odyssey Neo G7. Now, I'm not doing the Neo G8 because I simply think that the amount of issues that has and also the increased price make it not worth it, but the Neo G7 has far less issues with scan lines, and at this price point, it's probably one of the best 4K displays on the market if you're looking for a more reasonable size, as it is a mini LED true HDR display, so it looks absolutely beautiful, and it's also 165 Hertz. So yeah, it's a great display, and at $800 or a 38% discount, that's pretty good. You're saving $500, and I think at this price point, it's pretty good, although I do still think it's very, very expensive, just as a whole, as many people like to spend probably $500 or less, or even $300 or less on their display. But then finally, if you're actually looking for a TV, I did find that the 65-inch Quantum Dot OLED S95B is actually $1,200 off, or 40% off from its original price at $1,798. So again, very expensive display, but also a very good one if you're in the market. Then moving on to storage, because this, guys, we always get great deals every single year on storage, and this year is no different. There's tons of fantastic deals to be had, and I'm going to highlight just a few for you before we wrap this video up. And first, taking a look at the Samsung 980 1TB PCIe 3 SSD. This thing can be had for just $80, or allegedly 43% off, and that's actually a fantastic deal. Then we have the WD Black 2TB SN770, and this thing actually gets up to 5,150 megabytes per second and can be had for just $150, which is allegedly 44% off. Pretty great deal there as well. Then we have the Samsung 970 EVO 2TB. This one can be had for about $158 or 68% off allegedly, although I'm sure it's been cheaper than that recently. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the WD Black 4TB SN850X, as I do believe this is a 4TB drive that also has 4 gigabytes of DRAM cache, which I have found to be pretty important when you have a lot of files on your PC and you do a lot of maybe video work or something like that. And here you can see that you can have it for $462. So it's very expensive, but it is down from $700 of its original list price, which, hey, that's a pretty significant discount at 34%. And overall, yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic drive if you're looking for a 4TB one. So there you have it. There's a ton of absolutely fantastic deals to be had today, and honestly, I think the PC market as a whole right now for the last couple of months has been much, much more healthy with stuff like CPU price drops for Ryzen CPUs, which we've been needing to see for some time. I think they've really been pushing the envelope when it comes to pricing ever since the 5000 series, and now that they're seeing less demand, it's great to see that prices are starting to come down to a more reasonable level. The same thing can be said about GPUs. If you look on places like eBay, they can be found for very reasonable prices, which is absolutely great, and that might be the way to go when it comes to GPUs. You'll notice I did not show you any GPUs today because I didn't see any specific deals that looked necessarily that great on GPUs that I think you guys would be interested in. So in that department, I'm not going to give you any affiliate links because I just don't think there's a whole lot that are worth buying new at the moment. I think the best deals are to be had on places like eBay, where you can find some absolutely fabulous deals. And so there you have it. The PC market is looking a lot better, and if you're looking to build a PC, maybe now is finally the time that you can build that absolutely beastly gaming PC that you've been waiting months or maybe even years to do ever since things got so whacked up over the last couple of years. But hey, that's just what I think. Do you think that right now is a good time to build a PC, or do you think that people should continue to wait? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to drop a like. Every time you do so, AMD and Nvidia release new GPUs. Also, if you want to see more, check out one of these related videos. You won't be disappointed.